Chapter 17, Attending the Gathering. On this morning, atop the Daju Peak of Qingyun Sect, everyone was in high spirits, especially the disciples. They all wore smiles on their faces, though some nervousness lingered. It was mostly drowned out by excitement among the crowd. Only senior brother Song Darren, second senior brother Wu Dai, third senior brother Zhang Dali, and fourth senior brother He Dazi had participated in the last Qingyun Sect 7 Peaks Martial Arts Assembly. As for fifth senior brother LV Daxon and sixth senior brother Du Bishu, they were disciples recruited by Tia Bai in the past few decades, and Tia Linger and Zhang Xiaofan, both young in age, had never witnessed such a grand event in Qingyun Sect's century-long history. Tia Linger was particularly happy at the moment. While Tia Bai and his wife were making final preparations, she clung to the most experienced Song Darren, chattering incessantly. Senior brother, are there really so many fellow disciples attending the 7 Peaks Martial Arts Assembly? Song Darren smiled, clearly in a very good mood, and replied, Indeed, the 7 Peaks Martial Arts Assembly is our sect's grandest event, eagerly anticipated by disciples of all peaks, and those fellow disciples who have been selected to represent their peaks in the competition are all outstanding individuals. The spectacular and thrilling scene goes without saying. At this moment, fourth senior brother He Dazi approached, listened in, and then walked over, winking at Tielinger, and said with a smile, Junior sister, you don't know yet. Senior brother still has something left unsaid, Tielinger exclaimed, ignoring Song Darren's surprised expression, and asked eagerly, What? Fourth senior brother, He Dazi smiled and said, At the martial arts assembly, with hundreds of fellow disciples watching, applause thundering for the victors on stage. The sense of pride is undeniable, but if there are some beautiful young disciples from other peaks who are impressed by senior brother's charm, screaming and cheering for him, wouldn't that be even more delightful? With that said, he turned to Song Darren with a serious expression and said, Senior brother, wouldn't you agree? Song Darren suddenly blushed. Seeing this, Tielinger was truly puzzled and asked, Senior brother, why are you suddenly blushing? Song Darren shook his head vigorously, like a drum wave, repeatedly saying, No, I'm not blushing ... He Dazi cleared his throat, noticing that the other senior brothers had gathered around without them realizing it. While the younger ones like Du Bishu and Zhang Xiaofan seemed puzzled, Wu Dai and Zhang Dali were smiling. He chuckled, Second senior brother and third senior brother are here too. My memory has been poor lately. It seems that in the previous competition, senior brother won 2 consecutive matches and reached the 3rd round, where there was a young and beautiful fellow disciple from another peak. Oh, I forgot her name ... Wu Dai immediately added, I can't quite remember clearly, but it seems she was a fellow disciple from the Little Bamboo Peak. She was extremely beautiful, but her name ... double quotes. Zhang Dali smiled and said, Her name, we all forgot, but we remember the scene vividly, especially the way she looked at senior brother. With this statement, everyone exclaimed in surprise. Tielinger led the interrogation. Senior brother, which fellow disciple was it treating you so well? Song Darren looked embarrassed, glared at He Dazi, and forced a laugh. And nothing like that. Don't listen to fourth senior brother's nonsense. The junior sister from Little Bamboo Peak just cheered for us a few more times out of respect for our master and mistress. What? He Dazi immediately said, Senior brother, this is strange. Both second senior brother and third senior brother don't know her name, but you immediately mentioned it. But speaking of it, Sister Wenmin's kindness towards senior brother is remarkable ... Everyone burst into laughter, and Song Darren realized he had misspoken. He knew that he was no match for He Dazi, the cleverest disciple of Daju Peak, in terms of wit. The more he said, the more mistakes he made. He snorted, relying on his thick skin, and forced a smile. You're just being silly. Hey, I'm going to see if master and mistress are ready. Tielinger was about to ask further, but she saw Song Darren slip away faster than the wind, disappearing in the blink of an eye. She had to grab He Dazi, her eyes sparkling with excitement, and ask, "Fourth senior brother, tell me, what does Sister Wenmin look like?" He Dazi smiled. "Junior sister, don't you often accompany mistress to visit Master Shiyu on Little Bamboo Peak? How come you've never met Sister Wenmin? She's Master Shiyu's favorite disciple." Tia Linger shook her head. "When Mother and I went to Little Bamboo Peak, we went directly to see Master Shiyu. It's rare to meet fellow disciples." "Hurry up and tell me," He Dazi chuckled. "Don't be impatient. We're going to Changmin Tongshan Peak today to attend the Seven Peaks Martial Arts Assembly. You'll probably see her there," Tia Linger exclaimed, her eyes suddenly brightening as if realizing something. No wonder senior brother looked so energetic early in the morning. It turns out he had ulterior motives. Everyone was momentarily stunned. Then they understood and burst into laughter. Tia Linger's slight nervousness about the martial arts assembly had vanished completely. Her gaze swept across everyone, seeing smiles on their faces and good moods all around. But when she saw Zhang Xiaofan, she was suddenly taken aback. Although Zhang Xiaofan was smiling, she, who had been closest to him over the years, could tell that he seemed a bit absent-minded, taking advantage of everyone's lively conversation. Tia Linger quietly pulled Zhang Xiaofan aside and whispered, "Xiaofan, is something bothering you?" Zhang Xiaofan was startled for a moment. His lips twitched, and his right hand instinctively touched his chest. "Finally," he said, "I'm fine, senior sister." Tia Linger looked at him and said directly, "What is it? Show me." Zhang Xiaofan hesitated for a moment, then took out the object from his bosom and showed it to Tia Linger. Tia Linger didn't pay attention at first, but when she looked down, she was even more surprised. She said, "Why are you carrying this dark burning stick with you?" Zhang Xiaofan saw Tia Linger's surprised expression, but even with a hint of anger in her appearance, she still looked so beautiful. He stammered, "Master's grace allowed me to witness it. My cultivation is shallow, and I have no magical treasures, nor do I know how to use ... Tia Linger suddenly realized, but couldn't help bursting into laughter. Haha, so that's it. So you're taking this burning stick, to attend the Seven Peaks Martial Arts Assembly in the 2,000 years of Qingyun Sect, apart from Senior Brother 6, who cultivated a dice magical treasure. It's already strange enough. I didn't expect ... I didn't expect you. You actually brought a burning stick. Ha ha ha, I can't believe it. It's hilarious." The other disciples of Daju Peak, who were standing aside, heard Tia Linger suddenly burst into laughter, and they all walked over, asking about the reason and couldn't help laughing again. Zhang Xiaofan saw smiles on the faces of his senior brothers and sisters all around him, but he suddenly felt a surge of anger in his heart. This intense feeling of anger in his heart passed in the blink of an eye, but it was so strong that it almost suffocated Zhang Xiaofan. He lowered his head, tightly gripped the ugly burning stick, and felt the familiar chill in his palm. "Xiaofan," Tia Linger suddenly stopped laughing, her tone serious. "I'm sorry." Zhang Xiaofan's body trembled, and he raised his head.